Hello, friends, and welcome back to a beautiful summer day of LCS Challengers. We're on week 3 already, which is absolutely crazy. But hey, good times fly by or something like that.
That flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
Insert quote here.
You got it. I'm Sierra Dawn, and with me today, Kangas, who does know the quotes, and we have Cubby here as well. How are y'all doing, friends? Cubby, how you hanging?
You know, a bit of a busy week. Got the privilege of being on the LCS yesterday with Gabby, and the rest of the crew there was great, but good to be back home with Challengers, and looking forward to a couple of games we have today.
I like how we across the cameras, it's like Sierra's in all white. I have like light colors with a little bit of, floral, and then Cubby's just full commit. We got the whole spectrum here. This is perfect.
We got the transition here.
It's summer, man. I need the summer shirts.
It's summer as well as Pride, so happy Pride. And a lot of exciting things as well happening this week. As you're saying, there's the summer weather. Absolutely beautiful outside. Absolutely loving that. And exciting news for our players in the broadcast as well is, of course, we get to welcome a new sponsor on board. So thank you, Toro, and welcome to the squad. Of course, just like our subs and stuff revenue coming in, a part of the sponsorship does go towards the teams and the players, which is super exciting to see here in NACL development, because this is
support the players. Let's
right? Go! Cubby, you don't celebrate?
Come on, come on. I got my Twitch account back today. I'm gonna celebrate with some capitalism later.
Oh, okay. Nice. Self-shill right at the end there.
There you go. Hey, and another thing, it's the beginning of the week that we have to celebrate, is some of the banger plays that happened last week, right? So
yes,
we took to Twitter to narrow down our plays of the week, and we have our 2 finalists. So first up, for play of the week, this one is coming out from Arrow.
Always go with those friends that shake the bridge too. We'll see a little bit of shaking up the bridge here. See a lot of damage back. Oh my God! A triple kill and make it a quadra for Arrow. That's a play of the week right there.
I love how in the call he says that's a play of the week right there. I think it makes a little sense maybe why it was top 2 in the votes.
It was pretty good.
it was kind of like Pop Goes the Balloon, and Arrow just, he popped everyone. It was great.
Arrow's the needle.
Yeah.
Or the arrow. I guess an arrow would just pop a balloon.
I was setting you up for that, Kangas. I'm really glad you got there. Thank you. I know it might be a little bit slow this morning, still on the broadcast.
Here, let me take another sip of my coffee before we get into the next play.
Well, while you're sipping your coffee, you could enjoy our other finalists for Play of the Week, who actually got 2nd place last week. This one comes out from Quacker.
So, because it's still just a static shift, even how impressive that is. And now Quacker, here he comes. He's got that dominance, and he's looking at a 1v4. He can't get Trevor. Trevor can't get to him, but he still takes down the kills, and Quacker is a monster!
This Croc is online. Quacker keeps making plays, and it is an overwhelming success for Supernova.
It really felt like when Mazel said he's got that dominance, he was going to say he's got that dog in him, and I was really excited for that in the play, but it was still cool either way, and that's technically Quacker Revisited, because like you said, Sierra, this is his 2nd time now making top 2 in the Twitch vote.
Yeah, and I believe as well, Quacker actually won the vote over on Twitter, but of course, that's just to become a finalist, so you are going to have to show up in the Twitch chat and show your support, because of course, voting does happen in the Twitch chat to figure out who is the top play of the week. And voting does count across both channels, here as well as Challengers League. So make sure whoever you're voting for to get your votes in twice, because it all adds up. And of course, while we get those votes in, while we count them up, Kangas, you and specifically Joshi got a chance to talk to Fake God in our first episode of Between Two Funds. Check it out.
So, MILF Manor, we actually have yet to watch any of it, but
it's, I don't know how we started watching it, but it was very interesting. It's like, oh, we need this to win. We haven't lost a scrim after watching MILF Manor. I don't think that was true, but
it was the mindset. It's the mindset.
Yeah, it's the mindset.
Yeah.
This cheese.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Feel that there's a stigma against you since you've been around long longer?
There's always a stigma for players that like are around for a long time.
How
Like-
do you think you can kind of escape that? Because I think our best recent example of somebody who's kind of been in a similar spot was Dova.
You escape it by just performing.
Yeah.
Then people don't care.
Now, what about during this off season, right? Because there's a really, again, tumultuous off season.
Yeah.
And you chose to play for Disguised, and I have to imagine you got some challengers teams offers.
I did.
Yeah. So why did you choose to play with this team?
I thought it would be more fun. I also knew that like I think there'd be a lot more attention, I guess is a word, on that team in specific comparison to like every other team there. Honestly, I think what I was thinking at a certain point was it's either Disguised first or I go to Korea solo queue and just see what happens then.
You're convinced you're the best person not playing LCS.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. How can we show that to scouts?
Well, for me, I would just keep playing and try to keep playing well. Yeah, that's about it.
What if we made a music video with you though? They have to see that, you know. It's gonna be all over Twitter.
This isn't
We'll
part of
get you
the,
rapping.
this isn't part of the thing, right? I guess we know, right?
You can say
I've
no
only
to
eaten
that.
half the food. So I can do like half of it.
As long as you haven't finished, you are under contract. You're going to karaoke. Okay. What song are you singing for the audience?
Let it go.
Let it go?
Yeah.
Let's. Oh, you get some high notes out of that one. That's what we like to hear.
Can you do it for us right now? Give us a demonstration.
There you go.
Oh man, I actually memorized all the lyrics before.
Oh, you did? All right, what's the opening lyric?
I forgot.
Fake out, since we have a Riot producer here, what is your favorite piece of Riot produced content? Don't say keeping up with double, if anything but that.
Oh, actually, I like the origin of the name thing because like I was gonna think if I became pro, I was gonna be on the origin of the name thing, but it didn't happen yet. So, but don't worry.
Manny, make it happen. Can we do this?
I mean, maybe. I don't see why we couldn't.
But
All right, we'll get you on there,
It's
Fake.
pretty simple. I wanted to make
You
the
get back
name.
and you change your name to Real God.
No. I wanted to make my name Faker God, but
Faker
it
God?
was taken.
Oh.
So I took out the R
That works.
and I combined them.
There you
That
go.
I
works.
thought it looked cool. I was
Yeah.
13 years old.
Hey, Fake God, how long till this is true?
Dude, pose. You
Riot employee? I don't know, like 10 years.
gotta pose.
Does LCS player count as Riot employee?
No, that's an LCS player.
Okay, all right. So we don't want this. We don't. Maybe after like a long career in the LCS.
Yeah, after a long career, and then you go back to Riot to work.
Yeah,
there.
after you win the split, go to Worlds. 3-3 in groups, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel seeing the LCS develop into what it is now from the time that you competed in it? Because you were part of a generation, you know, a couple years back. It's changed a lot, right?
I don't know. I feel weirdly disconnected, I guess, because I felt like I wasn't there for too long, but it kind of was. It was like 1.5 years. But I still don't feel like I stayed there and made myself present while I was playing. It's a weird feeling.
How do you see yourself contributing to the scene?
I think just like playing and like streaming a lot and having a lot of people see, and like playing well, obviously.
I got something we should do.
Yeah, where can people find you, Fake God, if they want to help support the #1 top laner, not an LCS?
Yeah, you can find me at twitter.com/fakegod and twitch.tv/fakegod.
Yeah! How was your episode of Between Two Buns?
It was okay.
Just
gotta
okay,
do
I
better.
guess. We'll get between more buns later.
Hey, guys, he said it was just okay.
Just okay. You know, we try and make it fun, you know? We treat them to dinner, we take them out, we get them to laugh, we joke around. Just okay, you know? It's all right. It doesn't hurt our feelings at all.
But you paid for his burger, and he still just said it was just okay?
Well, Joshi did. I'm not going to take credit for that one. Joshi also bought mine, so shout outs to Josh, but yeah. I was just the camera guy. I'm not the main character.
You're just the camera guy. And he's saying no to the music video, too. I mean, I feel like you couldn't catch a break that time.
Thank God, that's free content for you, free branding, all right? Well, honestly, the name even sounds like a rapper name, so it's perfect.
I just like how he's like, wait, I can get out of that one, right?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't part of it, right? But,
to be clear, he asked that question multiple times. That's just the one time it made the final video. edit, but he was always down to at least give it a shot for whatever random stuff we wanted to throw at him.
Hey, I'm excited for more episodes because that was really insightful to take out as a person. That was exciting. We'll get to see him later today, as of course, Disguise is one of the teams we'll be featuring. But that is all for later. We have other business to be taken care of right now, specifically that play of the week thing that we were talking about before that episode. The votes are in, and Quacker gets his redemption. He is gonna win play of the week this week. Congratulations, Quacker. I don't know, Arrow's play was pretty cool, but I feel like Quacker did get robbed last week. He lost to Mir last week, so...
Yeah. That surprises me, but I will say, one might even call that a quack back.
Shout outs to Mad Magical and some of his content, which might also be coming out later this split.
I think Quacker is going to need to partake in that one.
I will say, I think that Supernova, better than any other team or player, really pushes people to vote for their player. I know that Bree was on it. I know that Liza was on it. Like, the socials, the managers, everybody's, like, posting in their own Discords, like, go vote for Quacker. Go get him up.
Hey, so, yeah. Voter turnout matters. You know, we love to see the push there from our teams. Support the players, right?
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff, especially after last week, because I know Beat had some serious words about Quacker not winning last week. But hey, it is a new week and a new chance for our players to be trying to get that coveted play of the week spot. And of course, as we starting the week off, we do need to see our updated standings going into it. Of course, TLC being the only team at the double digits wins. And when we're looking at Quacker and Supernova, at 4-8, they're tied with Team Fish Taco here last in our standing so far.
And that was the big storyline from last week, was that CLC was expected to be 11-1. They were up against Team Fish Taco at the very end of the week, and Taco took a game off of them. So Taco earned that tied for last, okay? They earned that. They would have been in sole possession, but they had a big upset win over TLC, so shout outs to them. Supernova and Quacker in tow are still struggling a little bit to get off the ground, but we still have hopes for this top laner.
We do, but I feel like when we're looking at Supernova, things just get a little bit more difficult going on ahead.
Yeah.
As to start off the week, they are going to be going up against FlyQuest Challengers, who was second on our overall standings. Later on, it's going to be Maryville University going up against this guys and Fake God. So an exciting bunch of matches for today, because I feel like there is a certain way that we kind of expect things to go. But honestly, if NACL has taught us anything so far, it is to really expect the unexpected here, Cubby.
True.
The league's been a lot closer than what I originally thought. I think that Disguised being 6-6, I know they have an easier schedule this week. We'll see them later, is curious. But props to some of our teams that I expected to be a little bit lower in the standings. I think some of them have been able to find some good wins. Supernova very much included in that, as they might be 4-8, which is tied for 8th, or, with the 3 teams at the bottom. But I think Supernova has still looked a lot better than what I expected, and they're going to have a hell of a test today going up against FlyC.
Yeah, important to note real quick before we hop into this, that this is the beginning of the end of round robin, the first round robin. So at the end of this week, every team will have played each other once. So we'll really have a better understanding of where teams are slotted. Right now, FlyQuest Challengers looking pretty good.
Faisal needs a picture here, but other than that, looking pretty good. I mean, FlyQuest Challengers, I feel like they've had they've had a good run so far. It has definitely been successful when they're looking at that second place. There's still some times, though, where I'm questioning what's going on, because there's been a couple of weird losses, a couple of little weird upsets that end in those ties. Whereas we're looking for Supernova, it's kind of been the opposite. There's been some good victories for games, but ultimately this 4-8 start, I mean, they did say that things were a little bit slow coming together, but that still hurts a little bit coming to what is close to be the end of our first round robin.
Yeah, I was able to catch up with Sketch before the match today, and Sketch kind of said, hey, this is actually the first week where we've been able to have a full scrim schedule with this team, because, of course, Rami Vab was coming in from UST, still some moving pieces for Supernova, but I'm excited to see if that helps them out, because I know it was a 1-5 week last week. I was really surprised with a 3-3 week 1, and Supernova has had a few more positives than what I thought, especially up in that top lane, as Quacker has been really good to start off this season.
And Music also having a couple clutch objective steals so far in the jungle. So there's a few areas we can look on the map to see, okay, there's some promise on this roster. It is awesome to see, but they are up against FlyQuest, so Faisal in the top lane will be the opposition for Quacker. We wanted to talk about the top lane matchup in particular. Faisal's been having an interesting start to the summer split compared to last split. When we looked at this time in spring, we had already had instances where Faisal was just solo winning games for fear that they were in losing states for. He doesn't have to do that on this roster. So we're seeing a different side of Faisal where he's instead going for these kinds of plays. He's just laning. He's just getting his farm, pushing waves, catching sides, and then grouping up for the big team fights that will close out the game. And that's kind of been the rinse and repeat for Faisal. Now, that's not to say it isn't impressive. It sounds maybe more negative than I intended to be. It's just that he doesn't have to put on the massive carry performances that he was in this spring. So we're not getting those out of Faisal as much. Instead, the team is carrying through other areas on the map.
And even those carry performances from Faisal in spring, he was still being left to his own devices in the top lane by fears. So we are still seeing a lot of that from Faisal, and he continues to be a self-sufficient laner who's able to contribute quite a bit in fights when he does join.
You can see by the vote below that the Supernova fans are definitely showing up in chat and getting their votes in. That was 100% for a moment.
Well, they had to get here for the play of the week to vote for Quacker.
They did. And someone on Supernova that always likes to be stepping up here is Quacker. We got to talk about how top lane over on the other side doesn't really have to do much. But Cubby, I feel like Quacker's been kind of doing the most so far to be starting off summer.
I remember Quacker back in my collegiate days. We used to scrim against him and his teams, and I came into this split saying, hey, whenever Quacker decides to compete, as he does have a pretty aggressive major from what I remember, he's been good. I remember going back when he was with Wildcard in 2021. I felt like that was a team where even in spring, Quacker was really strong. They were able to continue to really fight with some of our academy teams back then. And Quacker coming back into the league, putting more time into league, he's leading the league in solo kills and has been really impressive so far, as his role is definitely different from Faisal's in this team because he's playing very aggressive, and sometimes he does get his jungler to come to his lane. But Quacker's been making good use of that and has been a big part of the few wins that Supernova's been able to pick up.
Look, all I'm saying is Quacker is a 100% finalist for Play of the Week. So
True.
I think that's enough of an argument right there for him, right?
And I think definitely the type of player that we can maybe see the three-peat going into next week. Because looking at the head-to-head to these two players, I mean, Cubby, you already spoiled it. But 10 solo kills for Quacker so far, and that was something that even beforehand was the double check of like, this is just so far in summer. Like he's done this many.
Yeah, it's been really good to see, especially from a team that we didn't really have high expectations for. I thought that Quacker was someone that could compete with anyone, and he's been proving that so far. And I think this matchup's interesting just because of how different the roles of each top laner is within their team. Because Faisal is someone where he's not going to get resources. He's going to be playing most likely the Gragas, the Scion, the Cassante, and just be left to do whatever he can on the top side. Whereas Quacker, he's all about getting early aggression, push. Sometimes Music does play through that lane, and then it's about if Quacker can snowball that enough in team fights to make sure that it's a win.
And all I keep thinking about is who is the model for this like profile? They got some hair going on right there. All right,
Definitely
anyway,
it's not you.
Back to life.
But,
Are you jealous there, Kangas?
You know what? Maybe slightly. Maybe we can, have some more round head representation going into, the next, pictureless head-to-head.
Well, regardless of your bald woes over there, Kangas, I'm pretty excited for this matchup, considering we've gotten to see quite a few good things from both teams, but still, I feel like there could be some upset potential on the horizon. As our draft is ready, make sure to get your votes in. I will see you two later.
Thank you, Sierra. As we earn the pick and ban Cubby, do we have favorites coming into this one? I think the expectation would be FlyQuest, but based on how we set up the top lane in particular, I think that Quacker has been making an argument for being a heavy carry. Is that going to be the difference maker for Supernova, and can that push them over the edge in terms of who might win this best of two?
Honestly, I'm curious to see, because I think that Faisal has actually been really strong in holding his own up there, and I had a chance to catch up with Faisal before the games as well. He said that, it's been fun joining this team. He's remote, but everyone's been getting along really well. And he kind of said, I have to get used to what it's like to be on the same page, just make sure that all of our plays are crisp. FlyC had a really good 5-1 week last week. I know they're trying to build off of that as by the end of this week, we're going to be halfway through the season and done with our first round robin. So we'll have a really good feel for the strength of all of our teams at the end of this one.
Yeah, every team will have played each other once, so the standings will be a little more solidified. Strength of schedule won't really be a talking point anymore. Maybe it could be strength of how well the comp has, or the roster has developed throughout the summer based on when they played each other, but that's a much more in-depth conversation. Let's catch up on the bands, though. Ivern, it is taken off the table. This is a crazy pick right now. A lot of players have been enjoying the Daisy buffs. We're calling it Daisy buffs, not Ivern buffs, because clearly, that's the way
I do like that. I'm a fan of that, yeah.
And then Vi and Cassante. And that means that Maokai is the first pick for FlyQuest Challengers.
With a lot of the junglers taken off the table, Vi, Kindred picks that a lot of people like to play into Maokai. So with those now being gone, going to be the lock-in for UG. As UG for me, Maokai is a pick where I feel like Maokai has the skills that I want to see UG continue to develop. We all know that UG has the hands. I think his map play has been very much improved and why he's one of the better junglers that we have in NACL. But Maokai, seeing him put good games on this, someone that is a bit less aggressive from the jungle, for me still is going to push some of that growth we still want to see out of UG as he goes from just being this freak mechanical solo queue talent to a well-rounded out jungler, which he has really taken the steps to evolve his play like that throughout his time here in Challengers.
And he has had a few rough moments throughout the last 2 weeks, but he's not on the Kindred this time around. Or rather, we're not on the Vi into the Kindred this time around, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah. They do pair the Maokai with the Jace and the Ashe. Supernova blocking the Varus and the Wukong. You already mentioned the jungle pool pinch a little bit. Wukong makes a lot of sense for music at that point, but the focus on Varus and Ashe, as opposed to things like the Aphelios that we've been seeing so popular up to this point.
I am a really big fan of Varus right now, though. I think this AP Shiv build with Varus is one of the strongest Shiv abusers that we have in the meta. And, I mean, if you land an ultimate against Maokai with that build, once you get to 2-3 items, you can chunk people whenever you do connect with that ult. So we'll see if Sketch can pilot that one and dodge out of some of the poke that he's going to be facing. As Maokai, Jace, Ashe, that is a ton of engaged threat and range that Supernova will have to deal with, close the gap. Whacker on the Olaf. It's a lower damage team composition, so he's going to feel pretty good about that. And looks like Supernova even going to dedicate some bans to protect Quacker already in that top side. So FlySol already going to have his hands full up there as his pool continues to get narrowed. But we knew FlySol for his Olaf and Spring, so if anyone's going to know how to play against this, it's got to be him.
True, it's oftentimes banned against Faisal, or at least it was back in the Fear days. He has been playing more tank duty. If you look at what his most recent picks, other than one Gwen game, it is Cassante, it is Sion, it is Gragas. This is the role that the team is putting him on. Be that frontline, be the engage tool, be the tank to make space for us. So the Jax ban feels like respect, but I'm expecting maybe one of those tank picks. Gragas, how's Gragas doing on the new patch? Is he still up there?
I think Gragas is dead on the new patch. At least tank Gragas. I think it's mostly jungle pick. Ebor is still picking it. Honster picked it yesterday in one of the games I casted for LCS. It's not good. As it got kind of mauled by Licorice's Jax, as Supernova actually does not have a last ban today. So there's going to be no ban for Supernova, but they will find the one to protect Quacker. And FlyQuest looks like they're going to maybe target some safety mid, as they don't want to give away Annie Wukong. I was about to say Ari probably going to be taken off the board as well if they want to take away two mid laners that can play quite fast into Jace with the Wukong.
Due to rules infraction, Supernova working with that 4 ban. So now we're right into the next pick here. They have their top laner jungler AD carry locked in. I'm expecting the support. What do we think could be paired with the Varus right now on this patch? Is it still something like Emilio?
I like Rel, honestly, if you want to think about that. Find some more engaged to combo with Varus, but at the moment, you have seen Azir rise quite a bit in priority as we are on 13-12, so gonna have things continue to look a little bit different this week. I think this is our first week actually on 13-12. Yep. Thank goodness. I hated 13-11 so much. No more Emilio, no more Yumi. Get our supports with some playmaking back in their hands, as we are going to see that Rel locked in for Winsome, who has seen a lot of buffs.
Last patch, I believe we had 5 champions at 95% or above presence. It was kind of insane how predictable pick and ban was. But the Rel is a new addition. Cool to see the changes come into this champion. I feel like she's just so much more useful, so much less, everything in the W in her kit, basically. And they pair it with the Gragas. Okay, so we're still on the Gragas meta. Is that going to be Gragas into the Olaf for Faisal,
Yeah.
or is it going to be the Jace?
It should be Gragas top into the Olaf, as it is something that Faisal really likes. And again, I think that tank Gragas got hit really hard. The passive went from an 8-second cooldown to a 12-second cooldown. That really hurts Gragas' sustain.
Yeah.
So in this matchup, you have to go phase rush against the Olaf, and your goal is to just run away from his axes. We'll see if Faisal's up to it. He is a very good Gragas player, as Trevor. Gonna take that handshake, get some more knockups, and engage, as we'll lock in that Alistar against the Rel.
It can really shut down what the Rel's trying to do when she decides to go in. You just bop her away. Very easy counterplay there. But it also provides your own incredible engage tool that the Rel has a slightly harder time preventing. So in terms of the matchup, I actually do like the Alistar when you just consider these two in a vacuum. And I mean, still more engage options on the side of FlyQuest Challengers when you factor in things like the Ash Arrow from range, the Gragas Explosive Cask, but Supernova, they have a lot of engage tools themselves, so setup around objectives is going to be really interesting to track in this game.
I actually really like the Supernova draft. I don't know if there's enough damage to deal with Quacker if he's able to get going on this Olaf, as Ash doesn't have a lot of burst. Gragas, depending on what kind of build it is, also he's nerfed this patch, so if there isn't the burst to deal with Quacker's Olaf, he could run rampant off of good engages from Supernova, and they have the tools to start the fights around the Olaf. So I know that we highlighted the top lane matchup. I think a lot of it's going to be, can Quacker get going, or can Faisal neutralize someone who has been a rather strong newcomer that we've had in the league this split?
Faisal was a stand-up performer in spring. Now he's up against Quacker. So far, the standout top lane performer. Zamudo, props to you as well. We have a couple of new top laners coming into the league that are turning heads in their own play by their own right. But here's my tinfoil hat theory. Faisal's going to go the Leandri's build. I mean, I'm looking at that Olaf. I'm looking at the Alistar. I think that you are getting some value out of that HP damage. So if you're looking for more damage in the composition, maybe pivot away from the tank build, go in towards something more aggressive.
You do have, like I'd say, like 3 health stackers too with the Wukong, because he'll get health with the Sunder and the Cleaver. Not the worst call in the world, but we'll see if that ends up being the option for Faisal. As again, just looking to neutralize that Olaf and Supernova. I think a lot of this is going to be about weathering the early storm, making sure that Azir has push into the Jace, and also Ashe is rather powerful in the early moments of the game, but once Ferris gets some items under his belt, that will scale rather nicely for the side of Supernova. So again, I actually really like the Supernova comp. I think that the knockups between Wukong and Alistar could be real headaches for FlyC, and a lot of it we'll see if Faisal is actually able to bodyguard that, because a well-timed body slam and interrupt an Alistar combo can, set Wukong flying backwards. So I do think a lot is going to be on FlyC, Winsome and Faisal specifically, to make sure that those engages aren't able to happen for free on the side of Supernova.
Well, now I'm actually blanking. Can Jace do it as well? I know the timing's going to be much harder.
It's really hard.
It's got to be really tough, but theoretically, if you time it correctly, you can also. But that's going to be tough because we are on the Chicago servers, so it's not going to be a low ping environment.
I actually don't know, because like when the hammer swing comes in, if you're still able to get a pulve down, I think that like you could, like, it depends on what takes priority,
Oh, yeah.
Now Jace's golf swing, that takes a lot of priority over things in League of Legends, but same with Alistar Pulve. It kind of depends.
All right, well, I'll be tracking that then. I don't know exactly that matchup right now, but we'll see as we're getting into the game. We have a slight delay here to get into the actual game itself, so I want to take some time to chat about a player that we haven't really mentioned, but we talk about a lot when FlyQuest is on screen, and that is Masu, the young 80 carry coming in for FlyQuest Challengers. Now, he is, of course, back on the Ashe pick. Fun fact, this is one of the picks that he was playing more often at the beginning of spring, back when he was on 120 ping playing on Wi-Fi in Canada. Now with he's in LA, but the servers went back to Chicago, so he's back on kind of like a medium ping now. So he's back on the Ashe. It's kind of funny to see him go full circle here in his journey.
And I'm wondering if it's going to be the Trinity Forest Ashe build, as we have seen that quite a bit coming out.
Yeah.
I think Ashe this patch, like, it's been traditionally a good matchup in the Varus, but I really favor Varus in this matchup, especially with this new build. Your push with Shiv, your ability to actually scale with Shiv as well, given your kit as Varus is a lot better. I think he benefits more from those AP ratios, even if they did give Enchanted Crystal Arrow 120 AP ratio on this patch for whatever reason. It could be something that,
for the ARAM players,
Yeah, just help out a bit for whatever reason.
Leandri's Rush. Something like that.
Something like that. But I'm really hoping that we see this AP Varus build. I think it's really strong. I love that Stixay and Golden Guardians were playing it a lot this past week in LCS. They were on the new patch as well, and I'm really hoping to see that adaptation from Sketch.
Shout out, of course, to Stixay. Had a fantastic showing there. But we are getting into an actual game very shortly here. So thank you for sticking with us. We had that slight delay, but from what I'm hearing, it looks like we are ready for the game. So FlyQuest Challengers versus Supernova. Game 1 kicking it off here. FlyQuest still chasing that top of the standings placement. More wins in their belt means they're catching up to Team Liquid. Supernova hoping to differentiate themselves from the bottom off of specifically their key carry in the top lane, Quacker.
Expecting to see a lot of control coming out here from the side of FlyQuest early, as Ashe into Varus, a pretty decent matchup in the early stages of the game, able to poke away with Volley, keep Varus at bay, and then Faisal maybe doing a lot of that into Quacker, trying to make sure that that Olaf stays at bay. As Supernova, curious where music goes. I think attacking the top side for me is the answer of this game for Supernova, getting Quacker ahead. Again, I don't know if there is enough damage on FlyQuest to deal with this Olaf. It will be a problem if Quacker is able to get going in this game.
And what's interesting when we talk about these top laners, I know we've touched on it briefly before, is that they both often play on islands. That is just kind of how top lane is right now. But Quacker will play to push his lead a little bit harder than Faisal has been lately. Again, I relate a lot of that to the builds and the champions Faisal's been playing. But based on what we see here, it could be the AP build for Gragas, based on what I'm seeing from Phase Rush, starting with the mana band, as we see an early trade bot lane. Ooh, Winston was actually up in that front brush. I didn't even catch that. Didn't want to commit onto Trevor, though.
They do, again, priority should be to that Ashe Rel very early on, as Alistar needs 2 levels to be useful for anything. And Ashe, very strong push early in the game, as taking inventory, looks like both of our junglers going for that AoE clear, so importance being put on the rush towards level 6, as Winsome not able to connect.
I think that's actually intentional. You're using the W. I mean, if you land it, cool, but you just get the shield, then you're able to walk up and trade a little more aggressive, and you absorb the damage yourself. So that's what that one felt like for me, as Spyrex actually takes a decent trade into Robbie Bob right there in the mid lane. Has had a great split so far. Spyrex also getting some play of the week nods, as he had the gigantic Nico ult engage to close out one of the games last week. Now on the Jace, it's going to be about landing the snipes, as Yuji actually wraps around here, looking for an invade. If they shove the wave in, low chance of a dive because you're against an Alistar, but based on how they're positioning it, I'm not going to count it out yet.
I like this. Now, he's going to try and contest the camp, and Yuji, very strong level 3 here for Maokai, so he's just going to be a pass towards this Wukong, as this buff is going to be flipped.
And Music jumps in, has the Conqueror stacked. Yuji trying to dodge around, does get the smite, actually, so that's a steal. Music not securing his own blue buff.
Really well done here from Yuji, as able to combine that with the Q. Caught Music off guard. CC took the buff away. Good use of the Maokai, as now he's going to stick around for that bot crab, make sure that his bot lane is very safe and able to use the lead that they have in draft to continue to try and push around this Varus.
So taking a good chunk there as Trevor goes in. And Winston will prevent the follow-up. Ooh, dodging out on that arrow as well. But yeah, back to that invade. Yuji putting Music slightly behind here. We were talking about the jungle match and how important that could be. Every lane's a little volatile right now as the top lane and mid lane are trading aggressively. Yuji walks around. Looking at Robbie Bob here, who has flash, has abilities up. So no gank, but it's going to be about the next fight at blue buff here. Spyrex can't help out Yuji. Okay, he's right there. Music early on the play. Yuji jumps over the wall. How bad does Music want it? Oh, Yuji actually uses Music as an escape tool. Might have to flash here. Yeah, flash the undertow, teleport from Spyrex, but Yuji is pushed out from his top jungle.
This is okay, though, still, for the side of Yuji, because he can at least get his respawn camps, and he did deny that blue buff, so Yuji actually is still going to be ahead in the jungle, as he's going to take those respawn camps earlier than Music, as it is a trade buff, so I like the answer here from Supernova Kangas, but not enough.
If they'd gotten the kill, that would have felt amazing.
Yeah.
They did get double flash, though. I didn't see why Spyrax flash, but I look at the screen. There is a cooldown on that. So net some advantage I will give to Supernova, given the fact that now they can look to that mid lane yet again, especially as Robbie Bob will be hitting level 6 here before that flash is up for Spyrax. They could look for a big shuffle play, try and punish the Jays.
Yeah, once Wukong is 0F6, if Jace has no flash, that's going to be very difficult for Spyrax to play in. So Spyrax, let's be very careful. Is Music going to do his best to sneak around some boards? Might just be going to take away this Gromp, which, again, Yuji, he's going to be running here, but he's okay if he loses these camps, because they are the level 1 camps. So yeah, it does go over to Music, gets some gold, but he gets a ton of XP, and Yuji's at least going to come here to force out Music. Quacker is out of mana, doesn't have TP, so Music will have to seed, and Yuji able to protect his camps.
Yeah, Music does not actually succeed in the invade, so spending more time around here, Yuji getting back into the race. When it comes to jungle camps, there's been a really interesting mini-game so far here of which jungler can steal camps away from the other. So far, it's been a trade. Well done from Yuji, keeping his safe, keeping his up.
I do think that was a bit of a mistake there from Music, as he is yet to shop. Quacker didn't have mana in the top side, and if he was just able to take the Krugs earlier, then he could actually be on his bot side camps right now. So Music throwing away a little bit of tempo to try and overreach for that Gromp. Bit of a mistake on his part, but early enough in the game where should be able to recover. As Kangas, you were correct. Taking a look at Faisal on the top side will be that AP build, Lost Chapter in the inventory. We'll see if that ends up being Leandri's as you predicted. If not, I'm just going to expect the Everfrost against a heavy melee composition. Give some more control to FlyQuest.
4 words that I never expect to hear. Kangas, you are right. Man, feels good. He is going for it right now, and Yuji also probably going to be going towards the Demonic Embrace, I would imagine. So they have some AP in the composition. It makes sense given everything else that they had drafted. Now we got another little scrap here for the bottom Scuttle Crab. But Yuji is a full level up over Music, so Music, again, kind of pushed out here.
I mean, Music's 1 camp away from hitting level 5, and this is where skipping over, or trying to go for that Gromp and skipping over these bot camps to try and contest his Crab. Again, if he was able to have one of these camps, he would have had that level 5, might have been able to contest. So, not going to be the case. Another freebie for FlyQuest. They play through that bot lane priority to get themselves something on the map. And FlyQuest continues to be laning nicely. I still think for Supernova, level 6 is really where they're going to be looking out for. Doesn't connect.
Yeah, if the Explosive Cast can knock Quacker a little bit further, I think Faisal might actually continue there, but doesn't get much out of it. Still cool.
I think Quacker's okay with that, though, because if he was able to get a plant in the river as the Vamp Scepter on the Olaf, there's no ult now for Faisal. You can just auto this wave and be okay. Yeah, here he goes.
Yeah, that's flash out from Faisal. Flash follow from Quacker, but not in the same direction. Can't get another auto off or the resets on the undertow. So Faisal does make it out there. Yeah, these top laners, they know they're on the island, but they are fighting each other for those coconuts. That's the analogy we're going for here.
Spyrax just got 4 McNuggets from that. Not bad.
Engage in the bot lane too, though. Trevor uses the headbutt to knock Winsome away. The slows from Masu. Now they turn attention onto Sketch instead. No kills come through, but aggressively trading, and Yuji's here, level 6 on the Maokai. They could look for a dive.
I think Yuji first is going to look for that blue buff, as in this draft right now, FlyQuest expecting to lose this Herald on the top side, given the strength of Quacker. As, okay, no blue buff going to be taken here for Yuji instead. Might be a dive. There's no level 6 yet on the Alistar, so Trevor going to have to be careful. Does spot out Yuji. Well done.
Yeah, nicely spotted from Trevor as Faisal will get over the wall. Body slams across the thickest portion and still makes it over. And Supernova's bot lane, they know that their top laner has been spotted top, so they have no backup. FlyQuest have perfect information on the map right now, and Ash Arrow comes out. They're just going to commit onto Trevor, locking down the Alistar. First blood to Masu.
No 6 for Trevor, and that cow is turned into some fresh beef, Kangas, as easy kill for the side of FlyQuest. And look at all this gold going over to the priority member in Masu, as him and Winsome, with the help of Yuji, Kangas, have really played out this lane well. I love how Yuji finishing all of his pathing on the bot side to make sure they can continue to use that priority. And this is what we wanted to see out of Yuji's Maokai, right? The soft skills, making sure that he's pathing correctly in the right place. As usually the pressure is put down on Supernova. This is just too much from Trevor. Decides not to flash the ECA, as he would have seen this one coming. Instead, he eats it, doesn't have that level 6, and That's a free kill.
I'm watching live right now. Faisal's in trouble. Yeah, he's
he
getting
was
jumped on
spotted.
by Music right now. Doesn't have the explosive cask. It was used earlier, and Cyclone damage is enough to pick up the kill. Music punishing the Gragas for playing the weak side lane here. FlyQuest indexing to the bot lane looked good for them, but good for Supernova to capitalize on their own play top.
It's nice, but they weren't able to get any plates off that. And it still is a 1k gold lead on the marksman of FlyQuest, as Masu will be working towards that Trinity Force. And with the priority base coming out of FlyQuest, love how Winsome walks mid the guarantee they were able to shove in that lane, and that will lead to a free dragon going over to FlyQuest Challengers.
Picked up early, getting that stacking going. Here's the replay that was happening while we were looking at the previous replay. Still didn't see when the explosive cask went out there, unless I just missed it.
It must have been before, my guess, that Olaf was able to pop the R, make sure that he didn't get knocked off the turret there.
It is interesting the Quacker didn't stay, though. They have a full wave shove. They had Herald. I guess they just prioritized the reset earlier rather than going for some plates and more gold.
Part of that is that there's no TP. Right? That is a situation where if you have TP, you can stick around for some plates, TP back, and still be able to match the reset. But Quacker, of course, going for the double movement summoner spells on the Olaf. Very common. We'll have to reset early. No plates go over to him. Should be able to pick one up on the back half, though, as he's going to have shove in this lane. So Quacker talked about how Supernova, and in this top side, that each top laner has different identities for their team, kind of what they fulfill. As Faisal, very much a weak side top laner off to his own devices. Quacker, someone that we said that Supernova sometimes does play towards for leads. And in this DraftKings, we did set up how Olaf ahead could be dangerous for the side of FlyQuest, as they don't have enough upfront damage to deal with Olaf later in the game. So Quacker going to have to make sure he's spinning those axes for as long as possible in these team fights, because he has to make good use out of the lead he has against the lead that FlyQuest has on Masu.
And they don't have a lot of mobility on top of that. It's not like it's an Ezreal or a mid laner that can even kite back. So if Quacker gets on somebody, he's probably just going to stay on them. Damage is the only way to stop him. He's got the Ravenous completed. He went for another reset there. So they don't use the Herald for the plates. He goes for a reset, pushes another wave. Banks has the Ravenous now, so Faisal's job is not going to get easier. We're used to seeing him play weak side. But can he survive? Now the play mid lane onto Spyrax. Flash is available. Cyclone knocked up. Flashes towards his jungler. Now Yuji's in there, and a shock blast from Spyrax will claim the kill on the Music.
Beautiful flash from Spyrax to get back towards Yuji, and that's a high-value Bramble Splash and Maokai here for FlyQuest, as Yuji finds the kill onto the Wukong, and FlyQuest can now bleed that pressure mid into the bot side. You see Sketch Trevor already on the back foot.
Yet again, Yuji's here. They had vision to spot Yuji's approach. They know where he is, but this time Trevor has level 6. Elster ultimate means that the Ash Arrow play will not be the same. Cleanse early from Sketch. Teleport defensively. Masu's tanking turret? No, it's hitting the minions. Yuji's now tanking it up, but they're still onto Sketch. They got the Varus. Robbie Bob cannot trade one back yet. Doing a lot of damage to Yuji. Masu's trading with them. Oh, one final auto, and Robbie Bob claims FlyQuest 80 carry.
Good flashback from Robbie Bob. Bought enough range to squeeze in a bonus auto, take down Masu, as a lot burned from Supernova to try and match the aggression from FlyQuest, but at least able to be a 1-for-1, and they will get plates into Robbie Bob in the back half. So Supernova, good defense from them, able to get something back for themselves.
Spyrax is here, though. Full health bar on the Jace. They can catch the wave. It'll just be one charge of the Rift Herald. One plate, not even going over to Robbie Bob. So I believe only Music would have gotten that. Nice from FlyQuest, at least stabilize the play. But that was their call. They went for this dive, and the teleport made things a little dicey.
The Sketch trades Cleanse for that. That's pretty worth it, as Masu actually able to run past everything. Yuji, I think Yuji could have tanked up one more tower shot, as that would have been at least one change that, might have been able to be made. But Robbie Bob on the back half, in versus Masu, Yuji actually played this really well. That flash backwards from Robbie Bob, just enough to get Masu down. As well done from the side of FlyQuest, honestly. It was a well-executed dive. Robbie Bob coming down to at least even things out, I think, was the good response from Supernova. But FlyQuest, out of that play, at least able to get the brick in the bot side, going over to Jace. It's going to feel pretty damn good for Spyrax.
Another game, another instance A FlyQuest playing to bot side, playing to Masu here. That's 2 dives in a row that UG has committed before 15 minutes, and now Masu 2-1-0. Even though he went down, he also got the kill credit on the Sketch. So Trinity Force completed, already halfway to his next item as well. Feeling really good on the Ashe. We know that this build on this patch does pack quite a punch. We got to see it even earlier in LCS, so let's see what Masu can do. This is one of the champions he kind of started spring split with, so happy to see him back to those roots, and now the team again playing through him. But the top lane for Supernova still going their way right now. The Olaf is still ahead, but Faisal has done a good job of being a wall and not giving him too much. I don't see any plates taken.
It doesn't really get better for Gragas over time, as Olaf just kind of dominates this matchup. But what I like about, Masu and what you're mentioning, Kangas, and kind of what Ashe can mean in this composition, Supernova's behind right now, and it really feels like they have to get angles onto FlyQuest, but the amount of control you get from an Ashe Malachi comp, it's going to be so difficult for Supernova to actually find any angles now that FlyQuest has this lead. It's just on FlyQuest they have to really make sure that they're getting poked down onto Supernova and making sure that Supernova can never fully engage them on even levels. Because that's where Supernova, their comp, I love their team fight. I think it's really strong. So the fact that they're poking and just buying space back right now is really good. And look at how difficult it is for Supernova to play this. FlySol!
Oh
my God!
That was beautiful! Explosive cast, flash body slam. They might even get Quacker. He's able to just walk away there. But the top laner for FlyQuest says, hey, who's playing on an island? I grew up with the team. I make things happen.
I mean, the 5v5 for Supernova, it's good. It has potential. You don't have damage to deal with Olaf if you fight immediately, but the amount of poke and control coming out from FlyQuest, it's been so pretty to watch them actually execute that there, and now they're still pushing. If they're able to get more damage down onto Supernova, they can force them off this objective as well as FlyQuest. I think doing a really nice job of understanding what this composition does and playing around it. Just poking and prodding, using their range advantage. Been really nice to see from FlyQuest. They're going to walk out with their second dragon.
The only thing you can say at the end there is that it felt like a little bit of split call. Were we going to go to push them off Herald? Ooh, Sketch taking a big chunk. Robbie Bob actually caught out away from the rest of Supernova, and it's going to cost the team dearly. Music picked as well. FlyQuest get the turret and 2 kills.
Big overreach there from Supernova, as Quacker is the one that has a lead. He wasn't in that fight, so I think that TP from Robbie Bob must have thought that some other members of FlyQuest were already in base, Kangas, to actually try and go for that one or pull it off, but not the case in FlyQuest. They just get some more freebies, and that is a big lead for FlyQuest early.
Happy to catch those. Masu with 2 items completed now, picking up another kill in that skirmish. While they were a little split between pushing off the Herald or going towards the mid-turret, end of the day, they get all the gold that they could have wanted. Yeah, very deep TP from Robbie Bob.
Faisal answers. Sketch was 1 HP, and that's a 3v5. Just no play there for Supernova, as poor call from them gets punished, and FlyQuest continue to assert more and more control over the map in this game. Look at how deep they are into the jungle of Supernova this early, Kangas, as Quacker already threatened, and Trevor gonna have to blow his ultimate and flash. Wow.
That's 2 pretty big cooldowns for an Alistair. I mean, there's not much to fight over for the next 3.5 minutes. Maybe an early Baron push, but unlikely. But still, you'd rather have those than not. Good for FlyQuest. They just walk into this top jungle. They drop their wards. They clear out Supernovas. They say, this is our territory, and it buys space for Spyrex to take a turret. While Masu's even proxying the wave. Both carries are currently in the top lane doing different things.
Your team's turret has been destroyed.
Everything melting here. For Supernova. They do get something in the bot side, as they might have gotten some pity party gold. Might be coming in. The dopamine hits, Kangas, the objective bounties.
Yeah, number went up. It feels good. It even makes a cool sound when it happens too. So.
Oh yeah.
You love those turret takes. That's the first turret for Supernova, as we already have all outer turrets claimed by FlyQuest. It's so much easier to control the map, not only with the Ashe arrow, or rather the Hawk shot, along with all the Maokai saplings, but now you add on to that the fact that you can just get shoved in any lane much easier than your opponent can, specifically that mid lane. it's going to be so hard for Supernova to find this angle. They have the Herald to play with. That's the one big saving grace, as the Ashe ult goes a little wide onto Sketch there, who did not have cleanse, so feeling happy about that. But this Herald is kind of the make or break for Supernova. If they can't get something big off of this, they're going to just continually fall further and further behind.
Radiant Virtue here for Quacker, as a lot of healing coming out of the Olaf. He is the one member that is ahead right now, Kangas, so I think any fight Supernova takes does have to be around them, or else I'm in complete alignment with you. It's going to be really tough for Supernova to play their way back into this game, as the poke damage coming out of the Jace. Pretty good. Spyrax was one of the early adopters of the Jace last split. Good to see him continue to have success on that champion this split. And Jace Maokai looking like a strong combo. FlyQuest Challengers executing this one rather well, staying very disciplined. And honestly, good to see this team performing. I know that the LCS team hasn't had the same luck to start out this split, Kangas, but it is always good to see the Challengers boys below them continue to improve, as I think they've executed this comp really nicely in this game.
Not the first time that's happened to FlyQuest. If you go back to 2021 Academy, similar situation. But obviously, credit where it's due. The carries of this roster are stepping up, and the leadership has been impressive to watch.
Oh, there's an arrow going
bot. The
bot.
arrow drop up here. Yeah, the arrow into the bot lane won't land on the Spyrax. He's too far, or rather, Robbie Bob, too far back. So action is on the top half here. Faisal taking damage. Winston goes in for the engage. They're blowing up music, but here comes Trevor to turn the play. They actually get two as Quacker, the shutdown double kill king, and the carry of the team will run rampant in the top lane fight.
Oh, and meanwhile,
Robbie
Bob. Oh my
I believe
God.
he took down Spyrax there. He almost took down Yuji at the very end. Woo, close from the mid laner of Supernova. But either way, the team's feeling fantastic about that. They win the skirmish top, and they're right on a very early Baron.
And just as I was praising FlyQuest Challengers for staying disciplined with this composition, they decide to take an all-in to stop that second Herald crash on the inner. And this is not the kind of fight that you want to take going into... Okay.
Oh, that's what happened there. Okay.
I mean, honestly, it worked out okay for the side of Supernova, because at least Spyrax, went down and they were able to get a kill. But, man, I gotta say, FlyQuest not staying disciplined there. As, like, if I'm in this draft as FlyQuest, I want to continue to poke, prod, and not try and all in into the Olaf, because I think we saw the value of the Olaf and how difficult FlyQuest's composition like the difficulties they have dealing with this Olaf, who was ahead and was able to run through that fight in the bot side. And Supernova, I know we're in a pause, but they have the big purple worm around their shoulders right now.
Yeah, Winsome tries to force the engage. that's the game pause icon that we use. That's incredible. Winsome tried to force the engage because they were able to clean up music pretty quickly there. They chunked him down. But the Radiant Virtue from Olaf will actually delay that for a pretty long time. It will heal up your own jungler, and then you're on top of an Olaf full health, who is the fed member of the enemy team. I mean, I should say fed with air quotes here, as he didn't have any kills at the time, but now is even more fed. With his Baron buff, this could be the momentum swing that Supernova need to get back into the game after what was a very clean early game from FlyQuest Challengers. They're going to be kicking themselves. Whatever the reason for this pause is, we'll try and update you as we get it. But I wonder if it has anything to do with maybe something that happened in that fight. Would not surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know how long this pause is going to be, but maybe if we could fly a replay of what happened in that last fight could be great. Yeah. As I think Masu got caught by Trevor's Alistar combo with music, and that enabled Quacker to kind of free hit around the Ashe. And again, it's not like you have the damage to deal with an Olaf if you are on the side of FlyQuest. So I think taking that fight into the strength of Supernova was an oopsie for sure. And we'll have to see if Supernova can continue to punish that.
I have a short update here that it is an internet issue happening. I'm not sure on whose side it is, but something going on with internet connection issues. So hopefully that is sorted quickly. Sometimes those we don't know how long those will take. But here's that replay that you're asking for, Cubby, as we get another look at it.
It's a good engage here from Winsome, honestly, because Masu's sitting behind, but... Oh, man.
The explosive cast pulled the Cyclone into Masu. That's actually really rough.
Well, that feels bad. That doesn't feel good. Credit to Music for a nice flash out here. I think Music played that one nicely. As oh boy, well.
He's going to be kicking himself there. Masu might be kicking him a little bit as well. Like, hey, you're supposed to keep them away from me in the fight. Because that is the damage. The Trinity Force Kraken Slayer Ashe is the one that needs to get through the Olaf. And was in a position where the Olaf was not paying attention to the Ashe in that specific moment. So, yeah, that could have actually been a very different fight if one ability had been pressed differently.
The fact that Faisal is the only member of this team that doesn't have an image, I think he's the imposter from that.
Oh, no!
Oops.
Oh, no. That's rough. Oof.
Yeah, it might have been an oops, yeah.
Well, we are going to send it to a short break here while we let the issues sort themselves out. Again, internet issue from somebody happening on the broadcast on the team side, so hopefully that is a very quick fix. But we'll be right back after this break regardless.
Has this ever happened to you? What about this? As gamers, these sorts of things happen all the time, which is why we made LCS Challengers League emotes. Impress your friends. Stop sucking. Make better choices.
Since subscribing to LCS_Challengers, my confidence has never been higher.
And with 3 easy clicks, yours can too! Plus, you'll be directly supporting the players in the league.
So what are you waiting for? Come join us!
Thankfully, it was a short break, everybody, as we are back and hopefully hopping into the game immediately. It is a high-pressure moment right now. A reminder, if you're just joining us, Supernova just got the Baron.
It's a bit of a cooker at the moment, as Supernova, they were down 5.5K gold, just got Baron, a big positive play for themselves, and now we'll have to see what they can do with it.
And also, not just the Baron, the Turo Baron buff here. Let's see how big of a Turo Baron power play they can get from Supernova's side to get them back into this game that was looking real rough in the early game. FlyQuest Challengers played it so clean, using their range and their vision control to their advantage. But now Supernova can use this Baron buff to just brute force some pushes onto these turrets.
Supernova. Now, Sketch does have that second item on this Varus. This is when Varus starts to pack a little bit more of a punch. So look out for any of those ultimates that he's able to connect with. Those chains of corruption will lead to a big chunk. As you can see, the Shiv already chunking out Winston there a little bit. I'm sure he doesn't feel too good about that. Might be enough for Supernova that midway. They're going to play off of the Dragon. And with Faisal on the top side, he does have that empowered TP available, but looks like FlyQuest are going to gift this one over to Supernova, not wanting to fight them while they have Baron buff on their shoulders.
I mean, I'm fine with this play. If you can actually get a play yourself here, Ash Arrow, long stun, chain CC onto Robbie Bob, but he's outplaying it. Oh! Gets the trade. Faisal will clean up the kill with that last body slam, but now we have another play here as Trevor and the rest of Supernova have joined up after the Dragon take, engaging onto Masu. Winsome's buying space for the AD carry. Flashes over to the Krugs, and a blast gun for Masu, meaning the FlyQuest actually get out. Just turns into a trade of kills and then a turret for a Dragon.
They're still looking as music.
Uh-oh. Okay, it could turn into a lot more here. Cyclone, number 1, use Cyclone, number 2. Can they lock down Spyrex long enough? Here comes Winsome, the Shock Blast will claim music, and essentially a solo kill for Spyrex.
I love how Rel was just able to eat people and, you know, get assists now, right? It's so nice and satisfying because you got assist on that Ash Arrow because it's like, hey, Masu, come here, man. It's like, give me some extra moolah. It's the extra money, but FlyQuest recovering there a little bit. Pretty nice, should say. As this was a really nice arrow from Masu landing onto Robbie Bob as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow finds the wings. Yep.
On Vision 2, it did go over the Raptor pit, and there was a ward there, so Supernova not quite checking. Oh, that body's like... Robbie Bob actually sealed his fate. Faisal could have gotten out there, but he flashed to body blocks, giving his own
man.
life.
That flash off from Sketch was so close, and if that connects, I think it's a lot better. As Trevor with a really nice WQ flash to find Masu, but the team just wasn't close enough. As Music never able to follow up with his ultimate, and then Spyrax sees the 2 levels up on Wukong, takes full advantage of it as he is rather fed this game. And FlyQuest recover 2k gold in the map. It's back to a 4.5k gold lead. And again, the recipe for FlyQuest, all about control here, and making sure that they do not let Olaf continuously auto in any team fights, because that is when things get scary.
And he's at 3 items now, so
he's pretty big.
He's going to be his autos will do a lot, and there's not as much they can do to prevent him from doing that. Radiant Virtue, of course, giving him a big heal, and also just tanky stance, and Death Stance means that as long as he's getting kills, getting those resets, he will stay alive for a very long time. Stay away from the big man with the big axes is the name of the game for FlyQuest. They have their poke tools. Let's see how they want to set up the map to fully utilize them. As Baron has been timed out, I believe, at this point. We actually didn't see Supernova get much done with that. It was mostly just a stall Baron, I suppose.
Well, I mean, they got the Dragon, but then they lost the fight immediately to FlyQuest Challengers as they kind of re-identify what the goal is. I think it's honestly just an avoid Olaf angle. And you can see Olaf is the one person that can make plays towards. The Spyrax, he's spotted out.
This is going to be a 4v2 right now, but Music's onto Spyrax early. Flash out. Now Masu's got to run away from the big man with the big axes. Already the jungler's down, and Quacker has no more backup. Doesn't trade one back for his life, and a 2 for 0 for FlyQuest.
I mean, there are TPs up for the side of FlyQuest. Robbie Bob and Sketch were both showing on waves. I think that was a very, very aggressive take coming out of Quacker and Music. As I think flying through the Olaf is correct, but FlyQuest had the opportunity to bring 5 members. They sure as hell did, and guess what? That's going to be the first inhibitor likely falling here as Sketch does have ultimate if you'd like to threaten.
Masu doesn't have the team
Okay.
standing in front of him,
That'll
though,
be
so
enough.
they back off. Yeah, I mean, might as well not give an Azir or even an Olaf free waves to farm. It's not like you're going to be closing the game off of one inhibitor taken. So those are the types of in-hit plays that I actually am a fan of, even if you can take it. If you don't think it's going to turn into a game end or like a big Dragon Soul push because you have Prio in that lane, just leave it up.
This is just awkward to me because I feel like they could have went the opposite direction and been all right. And they were spot on wards getting here. If you look at the minimap, there are 2 great wards from FlyQuest on the brushes that would have allowed Quacker and Music to get here. So good vision setup from FlyQuest gets them the answer. And 5v2, not the fight that Supernova is looking for here.
Almost takes out Winsome, almost takes out Spyrax, but almost don't count in the gold department. Quacker giving over his first death of the game. Music was trying to set it up with him, and now we're back to live here as FlyQuest have no turrets to take in the top lane, so it's now attention into the mid. We're grouped up, we got a little bit of an ARAM going on, but it's 4 priority around the Baron. They can now walk in as 5, take the vision away from Supernova, make it really dangerous for Supernova to walk up to try and contest this. Oh! Those shock blasts are insane. Sketch down to almost death with just 2 of them.
Lysol gonna be dropping those barrels to zone out Supernova, and this time FlyQuest gonna look to get the poke down to take this Baron cleanly, and that is the key to their composition. As Lysol is the one playing bodyguard at the moment. We'll spot Music going over that wall. Nice ward from Winsome. Spots 2 members from Supernova as they're gonna be late to this Baron, but they're gonna have to take the post fight.
Okay. Oh, Music fills the flash over the wall, was looking for it, and now just gets popped like a balloon. Jumping onto Quacker, Explosive Cast dodged out because he had flash, but no Baron steal for Sketch. Secured by Yuji. Can Supernova make it out? Robbie Bob uses the Emperor's Divide, pushes back Winsome, who looks for the flash engage.
They're still in
Shot blast
trouble.
slow. Now Winsome's coming in here. Flash out from Robbie Bob. Supernova in full retreat into the bottom river. Ooh, that turned into a very messy play, but FlyQuest happy. Oh, Sketch! Just presses stopwatch! And is instantly taken down. Oh, those are the rough misclicks right there, my dude, as Robbie Bob will at least get 1 back. They caught Spyrax. Flash from Yuji trying to get onto Robbie Bob yet again and has the Bramble Smash to take him out.
Sketch just wanted to make a donation, I guess. Side of FlyQuest. All right, Supernova. I feel like Supernova. Oh, okay.
Oh,
hold on.
Quacker's looking for it,
might
trying
be
to
able
push
to do
through the
this.
Turo Baron power play and got the back of a
nice
Trevor.
stopwatch.
They're on the Masu. Can he survive? He doesn't. Masu lives through the engage, and even Music can't be enough to take down the Ashe. Double killed on Masu. Barely survives it, but that counts. They take the fight. They have the Baron push. This could be the game-ending play.
Really good stopwatch from Masu, and props to Faisal for, again, just kind of keeping Olaf down, and that is keeping both him and Wukong out of the fight later. Supernova couldn't get rolling this game, and they're going to fall.
Engage from Faisal. Sketch is down. Missing that stopwatch there as Robbie Bob spawns just to watch the Nexus go down as well. Will get 1 kill in response, make it a double as Masu falls, but the Nexus is the target for FlyQuest, and they will take game 1.
And honestly, FlyQuest, I'm really